My name is Koury Signoriello, and I am the broker-owner of New World Realty in North Attleboro. We are licensed in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. And today I just thought it would be kind of a good idea to talk about kind of what some of our most memorable moments are in real estate and kind of like some of the funny stories as well. My most memorable one I'll start with. I had the opportunity to sell the Aaron Hernandez Estate, I'm sure as you guys know, because you both helped me with it. Back in 2019, did it close? 2019?
Closed in 19, July 19.
And that honestly was just like the craziest experience ever, because you go from like seeing this home that's like on the news, and then all of a sudden you're representing the seller. And I didn't sell it for Aaron Hernandez. I sold it for the investor that bought it from his estate. But it was just a very strange first open house when someone comes up to you and they're like, oh, I saw it on the news today. You're just kind of like, oh, I've never heard anyone write that on a sign-in sheet before. So Kristen, what would one of your most memorable moments be, or funny moments that have happened so far to you?
So that's a great question. Memorable moments for me. I have quite a few in this short career I've had so far, but the ones that stand out the most are the ones where I got to help my family. I've helped my mom buy and sell a home. I've helped my older brother Rob buy a home. And actually, probably the most special one was when I got to help my dad, who was a lifelong renter, buy his first home in his 60s. Yeah, I got to put keys in his hand, and that was awesome.
That is awesome. Brian, what about you? Memorable
I guess,
funny?
okay, well, I've got both. Memorable, I would say, I think one of my biggest accomplishments that I feel the most proud about was probably the new construction subdivision I did in Attleboro.
Yeah.
It was one of the first times that I had done like from beginning to end, like the full project. I had worked on new construction before, but this was like my first baby kind of. So that was like, I just actually seen recently on Facebook, like a memory that came up, and we had closed on our last unit like 2 years ago, right before the pandemic started. And it was just kind of like, wow, cool. I did that. That was fun.
What would you say is the most challenging part of working new construction?
Oh God, everything. I think it's the balance of managing the buyer's expectation and then also making sure that the seller still feels represented. Or I'm sorry, well, when I say seller, I mean the builder. It's definitely not your typical transaction. I mean, when you're talking like picking out finishes and what's in stock and what's not, I mean, especially right now with how everything is, like it's even worse. But it's a whole different animal, but I had a lot of fun doing it. It was nice, like kind of being able to almost be like the project manager of the subdivision as well as just selling it.
You did such a good job too. Like honestly, like I remember you were the most organized about this entire thing, because you have to basically have a file on all of these units, even if it's not your buyer or anything. So you have to make sure it's built correctly for them.
I mean, like it came to the point where I felt like I could have just represented the buyers because I had to step in so much to do that part, but that we won't get into that. But they all sold out, and so that's all that matters.
You sold that out quickly too.
How about funny moments?
All right, so
Give me a funny one.
I guess one of the funnier situations that happen to me, they always happen when I don't get the listing. So I ended up going to do the CMA on a multifamily that was in Rhode Island, and I went through the whole building. It was a fixer-upper, and I thought I was doing such a good job. And I got to the third floor unit, and he just had this whole entire room filled with like toilet paper and paper towels and all of this like stuff that was just random things and like hoarder style, like amounts of it. And he was like, oh, well, like, you know, since you like did such a good job, just not good enough to get the listing, but since you did such a good job, I would like it if you could take like some toilet paper or paper towels with you. And
a nice parting gift.
I didn't know what to say because my immediate response wanted to be no, thank you. But he was like, he insisted. So I ended up walking out this multifamily building with a roll of toilet paper and like a roll of paper towels too, and like an 18-pack too. It wasn't even like a small amount.
And that was during the pandemic.
I was going to
so
say,
that was
that's
like liquid
actually
gold.
Really
like
generous.
at that point, like
I know, like that is true. It was like good time. I just felt like, I don't know, maybe just like
a little weird.
Yeah, a little too strange for me.
Wait, I have one.
What's yours?
Where I also didn't get the listing. Speaking of uplifting stories, so I went to a CMA. It was a condo. The seller's mom had passed. She was the owner of the condo. And I knocked on the door, and I heard this voice from inside say, "Come in." And so I opened the door, and there was this woman standing there kind of hysterically crying, going, "My mom is dead." And so I just put my clipboard down and my New World folder, and I guess we just were hugging it out. Like, we were no longer doing the CMA. It was just, we were hugging it out.
The mom wasn't dead in the house when you were there, though, right?
No.
Okay. I
No.
just want to clarify.
So, I didn't get the listing, but she insisted I take her mom's red leather jacket home. So,
Thriller.
Score, right?
80s party.
It was really cute.
What about you, Brian? Do you have a funny one?
Well, I have a first that happened recently. I had my first 911 call during my open house. I wouldn't say
not
that
funny,
it was
yeah.
not funny, but in hindsight, I feel like the way people reacted, it was a little weird. It was packed. There was probably at that point like 40 or 50 people there. And this poor kid, most likely just overheated. You know, he was super bundled up, and the parents had him in the bedroom, and their agent called 911. I had no idea this was even going on at first. Like, it just so happened so quickly. So I ran to the master bedroom to see what was going on, and their agent's like about to call 911. So I'm trying to escort them out of the house. And
Was it packed?
oh yeah, at this point, like there was like probably 40 or 50 people there. So like there was like, it was right at the beginning. So it was like the doors open and like floodgates open. Everyone came in, and I'm trying to like clear people out of the way, like so we can get the family outside as their agents on the phone with 911. And I swear like people were like stopping me like, "So how old was the furnace again?" And I'm like,
Just unfazed.
I just need like a minute, like to just like get this taken care of. And then, you know, the cops came, the ambulance came all outside, and everyone's like, "What's going on?" And it's like, I think it was the neighbor.
I remember when that happened to you, and the best part was you actually got an accepted offer after that
It
open house as well.
It did sell.
And
And,
the kid
those
was
people
fine?
were there
And the kid was
while it
fine,
was happening,
right?
and the kid was fine. So everything was okay. Guess we should start with the most important thing is
The
that the
kid's
ambulance
fine.
came and checked out the kid.
I mean, I figured we
And-
wouldn't be talking about it if he wasn't fine. Like,
Yeah, that would be a totally different story. That would be like the most morbid open house story. But yes, first and foremost, I did get an accepted offer, and secondly, the child is fine. So
one more funny story though before like we change the subject, because I know you guys know this. When I had to play the piano at that listing appointment, again I didn't get the listing, and I like was so nervous.
I swear we get listings.
We do get listings.
I get
we
all
do a good
mine.
job.
except for
But
that one.
I played the piano, and I thought like because like they felt so comfortable to ask me to play the piano. I don't know if I butchered it or I felt like I did fine.
What, one of three songs you know how to play?
And it was one of the three. It was one of the three that I knew how to play. They're like da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, like that one. Like
Oh, okay.
And I thought I did fine, but apparently I did
Were they
not.
just like, no, right after you stopped playing?
No, they like actually were like, we don't even want to interview anyone else. And then right when I left, they interviewed someone else, and they're like, he just seemed like he was more into the market facts, like than the piano that you asked me to play. Anything else you have to add, Brian?
Funny moment. Oh, well, I did get some unexpected publicity for one of my listings one time.
Ooh,
Well, at least the address printed in the newspaper, because my seller was arrested for a DUI. Actually, a citizen's arrest for a DUI while I was selling their home. So, yeah, I was not expecting to see that
When you
in the
Google
paper.
the address, it's like
oh,
Zillow and Citizens Arrest.
XYZ Street. And it's like, oh.
Well, didn't it end up in the newspaper, like a picture of the outside of the home too?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Was
yeah.
your sign in it?
I don't remember if I think it was just like the angle of the house. I don't think
Was
it was
it a
my
good
sign.
shot? Could you have
Fortunately,
used the
it was
photo?
one of my signs that I wouldn't be proud of anyways. It's like old Brian, not new Brian, so like we don't need that in print. But yeah, that was like some unexpected publicity for an address.
Isn't
for a
it so
listing.
funny when you like talk about like going back to your signs though, when like you look at all of your old signs and all the pictures from like, and you're like, wow, like I looked like a 12-year-old.
Who hired me? Yeah. Like, how did I even use that sign? I look at my business cards. I've had like 4 or 5 different versions in the 4.5 years. And I'm like, every time I get a new one, I'm like, ooh, These old ones
But I
seem to
love
be
that we
burned.
have that because I feel like sometimes real estate agents just stick with that one forever. We're looking
Well,
at-
when you
92.
need to do better than your original, maybe that's why you do better than the original.
I think we look good.
Well, I just don't know why. I remember, like, I look back at some of those pictures when I was like 18, and I'm like, what made me think like this is amazing? Like, I should post this all over all of my signs, all over all
selfies
of the
at the
websites.
office?
Yeah, exactly. Just like make the background blue in my own. Like,
We didn't have Canva
Oh, I remember
back
those
then.
ones. Yes, Canva. This is not a plug for Canva. We love Canva, though.
Canva.
although if this is on my Instagram story, I will tag you.
Yeah.
I guess what the takeaway is, like, from all of like the most memorable moments, the most favorable moments, is that, you know, during real estate, no situation is ever the same. There's no two deals that are exactly the same exact.
Expect the unexpected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even with those moments that we've had, I mean, other than the points where we didn't get the listings, we have always been able to get our customers through that closing table, and we can have hurdles thrown out in front of us that, like, we would have never expected. I don't think anyone could have ever expected.
yeah.
And we still are able to get through it all in the end.
I think it's awesome because, you know, as a team, we're stronger together.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Right?
It matters what team you're on.
Right.
But we honestly, we are so much stronger together because I've always said we all bring different strengths with everything. You know what I mean? Like, everybody is good at something that, you know, they're going to excel at something more than somebody else will at. And you guys both are, you know, examples of like what my weaknesses are. You guys have strengths in those aspects, and it honestly helps me become better at what I'm doing.
What are your weaknesses, Koury?
I mean, we don't talk about that on camera.
I'm just so pretty. So annoying.
No, but I would have to say, like, to be honest, with like what some of my weaknesses would be, with like Brian, like, helps me with my organization,
Like a serial killer.
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
It's absolutely insane. And you being able to, I mean, Brian's also really good at this too, but like your personality and your personableness, like when you're working with your customers one-on-one and being able to really care more than this just being a job, like actually caring about how they feel about everything in the end of it.
I love that. I love
Exactly.
That
And you've always excelled at that. And like I said, you do the same exact thing too. I would like to say I do as well. But you guys are just so great, and I'm so thankful. I couldn't be prouder to be working with you guys.
Thank you. Well, you have taught us a lot as well. So it's been great to have someone that has had a lot of experience. And although, like we were saying, you just never know what's going to happen, but like we can pull from our experiences. And with you having so many years in the industry, you know, we can kind of brainstorm when we come up to these obstacles and try to figure out, like, how do we work through this?
Yeah,
and
what's the best approach?
I mean, I wouldn't be able to do that by myself all the time. Like, it's just impossible. And I feel like we all feel the same way with that, where like there are just times where like we need each other. We need to like bounce an idea just to like be like, am I crazy right now? Like, is this going to work? Am I like overthinking? Am I not
This
doing enough
sounds
for
really
it?
great in my head. I just want to know what you think.
Yeah,
You
right?
were coming up
Before
with
I
remarks.
put this in
Remarks
writing.
on a listing, for
it-
MLS is just like, it's so helpful to have like three minds instead
Yeah.
of one.
Yeah.
Too many commas, Kristen.
Why do you keep hitting the space bar so many times, Kristen?
Sorry,
Yes,
guilty.
but yeah.
We don't even need a thesaurus anymore between the three of us. We're just like
Basically, yeah.
our own dictionaries.
Cozy.
Warmth,
Spacey, no, airy.
spacey.
Anyway,
This is
It's
why
the
I need
opposite of
Brian.
cozy. Isn't that like, what's the opposite? I don't even know
Right.
what the opposite is.
bright, airy. What was the other one?
Open.
Bright, airy, and open.
Open floor plan, yeah.
So if you guys want to know more about the Koury Signoriello Realtor Group, reach out to us anytime. You can call us at the office at 508-699-0608, and hopefully we'll have plenty of more stories to share with you guys.